It's very festive in here. We just had baby girl's first birthday party.
Yeah, it's the guest panelist's birthday.
Yeah, and there's beautiful homemade
It's gorgeous in
bunting.
here. I mean, I think you should keep it.
Part of me wants to.
Yeah.
I mean, the stars in the window we left up from Christmas because I just like them and they're not necessarily that Christmassy.
Yeah.
But I almost want to leave the bunting up.
You can for a while.
Yeah.
Sure. So happy birthday, guest panelists.
Happy birthday, baby girl.
And I'm Allison Gwynn.
I'm Amelia Cormack.
And this is Some Dark Holler.
I'd rather be in some dark holler where the sun refused to shine than for you to be another man's woman, never on earth to call you mine.
This is an interesting one because it's so nutty. And it also, you're going to get three songs.
What?
3 songs in one episode.
What do you mean?
I will. What is that word that you use that's really fancy? Elucidate?
Oh, I don't even know if I'm using that right.
I like
think
it.
I should look it up. Wait a second.
We don't have that word round the holler.
Wait, Echo. What does elucidate mean?
Elucidate means to explain something in detail, to make it clear. Sometimes it's also defined as to throw light upon.
You did it right.
Okay, I did it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will elucidate.
I like that.
Yeah, 75-cent words.
That's good.
I like them.
Yeah.
So, there are so many newspapers because this was crime of the century. Crime of the century. It wasn't. It was, but it was so unhinged what happened that, of course, all the newspapers wrote about it.
Yeah.
So there are so many newspapers I have cited that I'm just going to put them in the show notes because we would be here for 5 days.
I love it.
So I'll do that. There's also 3 songs in our Spotify playlist this time.
Wow.
Ooh.
Fancy.
But we're finding out, the more that I've researched the actual ballad of this, that this is based on, this story, that it is also based on a lot of other ballads. It's like, and it bears a striking resemblance to our good Frida Bolt, the melody-wise. So, yes, but before we go any way further, I'm going to start with a murder ballad that ties to our true crime story that's happening, and it's got a doozy of a title.
Oh, yeah?
The Jealous Lover in Lone Green Valley.
Ooh.
We're going to sing it right now.
Down in the lone green valley, where violets bloom and fade, there was a jealous lover in love with a beautiful maid. One night the moon shone brightly, the stars were shining too, and to the maiden's cottage this jealous lover flew.
I don't have a good feeling about this.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Come, love, and we will wander down where the woods are gay. While strolling we will ponder upon our wedding day. So arm in arm they wandered, the night bird sang above. The jealous lover grew angry with the beautiful girl he loved. Wonder why.
Yep.
Probably just talking out of turn.
It's gonna work out well. I have a good feeling about this. The night grew dark and dreary. Said she, I'm afraid to stay. I am so tired and weary, I must retrace my way.
Retrace your steps, no never, for you have met your doom. So bid farewell forever to parents, friend, and home.
Oh, Willie, won't you tell me? I know there's something wrong. You will not harm me, Willie, for we've been friends too long.
Sure.
Friends?
Friends.
Yeah.
It's just friends.
Okay. Down on her knees before him, she pleaded for her life. But deep into her bosom, he plunged a fatal knife. Oh, Willie, my poor darling, why have you taken my life? You know I always loved you and wanted to be your wife. I never have deceived you, and with my dying breath, I will forgive you, Willie, and close my eyes in death.
Jeez. So we sang it. Yeah,
We did.
And as you can hear, sounds a whole lot like Frida Bolt. But back in the day, people found a good thing, and much like now, they were like, let's just make 5 billion versions of it.
Oh,
because we know
yeah.
it sells.
Yep.
And so that's probably, I mean, it feels like, you know, when those TV shows are like, we want Eye of the Tiger in this, but we don't want to pay for the copyright, so we're just going to change some of the melody line, some of the notes, not all of it. So it'll be like, Eye of the Tiger, it's the thrill of the night.
I do secretly love that when you're listening to a montage on a TV show and you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all know what you're doing here.
Absolutely. So I have a feeling that what Jealous Lover in Lone Green Valley is. But keep that in mind, put it in your back pocket. And I will start a tale of murder. Okay, picture it. Mississippi in the middle of July.
Ooh, hot, I hear.
Yeah. About as hot a place as you can get, and you're in the most uncomfortable state you can be. You're 9 months pregnant.
Oof.
Living in your parents' house because your husband lost his job with your 3 children, and that drunk lout of a husband is passed out again.
Oh, God.
You're miserable. Plus, you've been hearing rumors that your husband has been sneaking around with other women.
Ooh.
And what's the worst thing of all? It's 1929, so there's no air conditioning. That's the worst thing.
I am so glad that I gave birth in winter because I cannot imagine
Ugh, no.
being heavily pregnant in the height of summer.
God, that sounds like hell.
Although I will say, a friend did mention to me, she's like, yeah, but you're not going to be able to have her birthday parties in the park. And I was like, yes,
No,
God damn it,
there's
we'll be
that.
paying for a venue
You're
every
gonna
time.
have half birthday parties. So, 1929 in Mississippi in July, and you're 9 months pregnant. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
Maybe cut her a little slack, maybe. I don't know. Okay, so the no AC thing isn't the worst part, but it's up there. Your parents have been put in a terrible situation, having to take you all in, and the tension in the household has come to a breaking point. And that breaking point is a gunshot. Right in your husband's chest.
Oh.
And your 7-year-old daughter saw it all. Dun,
Oh, that's
dun,
awful.
dun. Yeah. So, going back in time. Back.
Diddly-doo, diddly-doo, diddly-doo.
Pearl Drew got handed the fuzzy side of the lollipop stick when she got pregnant by Marvin Drew at the age of 15.
The fuzzy side.
Yeah, the one that's probably from your mom's purse.
I just...
Kind of vaguely tastes like perfume. It's just gross.
That's the best.
Yeah.
But also 15.
Oh,
Good God.
yeah, in Mississippi.
What was I talking? Oh, yeah, I was talking to a friend the other night, and she was talking about how her niece is like 21 and getting married, And she's like, your prefrontal cortex hasn't even finished
Right?
developing.
I was engaged at 17. And so you get engaged really young. But Pearl was like, let's just skip the middleman.
Yep.
And let's get pregnant right at 15. So, once again, it was a different time. It was 1919. But still, Marvin was in his 20s when he impregnated Pearl. So once again, because of the times, they were forced to marry. Then, 3 children, and 10 years later, she found herself once again pregnant. And her husband, who once worked for the railroad, was suddenly jobless because of his alcoholism, leading to drunken fights on the clock. That's not all Marvin's drunkenness led to. The couple was said to fight constantly, with Marvin even threatening Pearl's life. There was also rumors flying around that Marvin was a philanderer, and like most cheaters, Marvin accused Pearl of cheating too, and that the child she was currently carrying wasn't even his. Because,
Yeah.
for some reason, people do that.
Yeah.
When they're the cheaters, they I don't know why they do that. They blame the spouse of cheating too. I don't know. Maybe to throw them off the scent, or maybe it's I don't know.
Well, I think it's also that thing of like, I feel bad about this, or maybe I don't feel bad about this, but I'm the way that I can distract. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
From my own behavior is.
Yeah, but to be like, that child's probably not even mine. Ew. This could not be substantiated, but Pearl later tells authorities that she never had extramarital relationships. So, jobless and angry, they moved in with Pearl's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas G. Gunter.
Now there's a name.
As they are stated to be named in the papers in Ashland, Mississippi. The couple continued to fight, not Mr. and Mrs. Gunter, but Pearl and Marvin, when under her parents' roof, and most of the time, the parents sided with the daughter. Like you do.
Yeah.
Especially if the husband's a drinker.
Well, and also if you're witnessing it, it's in your own house.
Yeah. Then, in July 1929, the neighbors called the police, reporting hearing a gunshot coming from the Gunter residence. There they found Marvin Drew, shot in the chest in his bed. The police first concluded it was a case of suicide due to drunken despondency. Apparently, before the shot, Marvin and his little girl, Dorothy, were asleep on the bed side by side.
Oh, God.
How commit suicide? Shooting yourself in the chest that's a choice.
And how you do that.
Yeah.
I think that's something when probably pulling this out of all the crime show bullshit I've watched, but it's almost physically impossible for you to shoot yourself in the chest as suicide.
Interesting.
I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but I'm even just trying. I'm trying to do it right now, and you
the
can't
recoil
hold.
Would pull it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So Dorothy was 7. And she was sent to relatives in Tennessee to be away from the mayhem of her father's death when she said something strange. She reported that her grandfather, Pop Gunter, came in and shot her dad while he was asleep in bed next to her. And I guess the Tennessee relatives told the police what Dorothy had said, and soon Thomas Gunter was arrested for the murder of his son-in-law. Author Edwin Bouchard reports, quote, he was brought to trial on August 16, 1929, before Judge Thomas E. Pegram of Benton County Circuit Court in Ashland. Gunter pleaded not guilty. The principal witnesses against Gunter were his daughter, Pearl, and her 7-year-old child, Dorothy Louise. So Dorothy had to testify. The latter, who said that she did not know the Bible, she did not know what the Bible was, and had heard of God only one time when she went to Sunday school. She made a remarkable witness and convinced the jury that she was telling the truth about seeing her grandfather commit the murder.
How scandalous that must have been in that time for her to be like, I don't know what God is.
What a horrible parent. You don't know what the Bible is?
Yeah.
And you've only been to Sunday school once?
Yeah, that's why I gasped, because I just thought,
Clutch your pearls.
Ah.
Clutch your pearls.
Yep.
Pearl's testimony corroborated that of her daughter. So the testimony of a 7-year-old girl was taken into account. Author Richard Underwood notes, the law of evidence allows a jury to hear and rely upon the testimony of a child if the judge first determines that the child witness has an appreciation of the difference between truth and falsity. Mm-hmm. And I guess the lack of knowledge of the Bible didn't bother the judge much because he let her testify. Mm. However, Bouchard goes on to say that the defense's key witness was Thomas Gunter's wife, Pearl's mom, who swore that Marlin, Bouchard says that Marvin's name is Marlin in this text, had been shot by Pearl in a fit of jealousy, while the prisoner, Thomas the granddad, was in a drunken stupor in another part of the house. So Pearl's mom said it couldn't have been my husband because he was drunk out of his mind in another part of the house.
Well, and she's going to stand by her man.
Okay. It doesn't say whether he, Thomas, defended himself or testified himself, but I don't think he did. To say yes or no. He just kept quiet. I know
that is very interesting that the mother testified for the defense. Yeah. Oh, of course. Yes, because the defense is the father. Yes, of course she did.
The father is not saying anything because he's trying. Well, you'll see. The father's not saying anything.
Okay.
I know yet again it was a different time, but maybe leave out the part that the grandfather was in a drunken stupor somewhere. I know why she did it. She said that he was in a stupor, therefore not capable of shooting him. But personally, I've seen drunk people do a lot of stupid shit, so maybe that wasn't the best defense.
Yeah.
So the jury believed Pearl and Dorothy and came back with a verdict of guilty for Thomas Gunter. Author Bouchard says that 5 years were given to him, but another author, Richard Underwood, cites a sentence of 25 years.
Oh, God.
So that's a big difference.
That's a huge difference.
25 years for killing a man in his sleep.
Well, 25 to life. That's what they sentence now. And people can get out on parole way before that time is up. Right. So, yeah.
Ugh. So, Pearl and her kids moved away from Ashland, and she gave birth to her 4th child that fall in 1929. But then things got odd. Pearl sent a letter to the governor, who has the hobbit-like name of Theodore Bilbo. Just can't stop picturing it.
And is it spelt the same way?
Yep, Bilbo, B-I-L-B-O.
Wow. That's amazing.
And in this letter that she wrote to Theodore Bilbo, the governor of Mississippi, she wrote a poem, a friggin' poem.
Wow.
And what was the nature of this poem? Was she trying to win some sort of state poetry prize on her poem about spring? Or no, she was sending the governor a secret love poem? No. Instead, she sent this. And we're going to sing it right now.
Down in a lonely graveyard where flowers bloom and fade, there lies my darling sleeping in a cold and silent grave. So listen now, dear people, and hear my story through. I pray God will warn you of the fate of Marvin Drew.
She doesn't really scan most of the time.
Do we ever can do it again?
Nah. He died not broken-hearted, nor by disease he fell, but in an instant parted from the ones he loved so well. Down on my knees before him, I pleaded for his life, but deep into his bosom had plunged a 45.
Yeah. That
I didn't know you could plunge a
doesn't
gun.
make sense.
No.
But oh, how sad the ending, to sit beside my dear. For I have often told him, my darling, don't you fear. Then he said, no, my darling, your words can never be. For I will soon be sleeping in hell away from thee.
That's presumptuous.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, there's more.
But listen to me, wife, come closely while I tell. When I am gone, please don't forget me, the one who loves you well. I know I've been a rambler, I know I've done you wrong, but don't forget me, darling, whenever you sing this song.
It's going to be a chart topper, you know.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And he says,
I want to work for Jesus and work both night and day, for he will gladly help you and surely lead the way. The time has come, my darling, when you and I must part. The bullet of that 45 has surely plunged my heart.
I didn't know it was clogged.
Also, that's a lot that he says after he's been shot.
But kiss our little children and tell them I am gone. Don't let them follow my footsteps, for I have led them wrong. This poison mule, dear people, did cause this incident. It stole these children's father, who for their love was meant. To prison went my father, all innocent of this crime. I could not long endure this, my father doing time.
Who's the mule?
Alcohol.
Yeah, recognize that melody? Do you recognize it?
Oh, yeah,
That's
just
the
slightly.
Jealous lover in a lone valley. Yes, the meter and rhyme scheme was copied off of that old murder ballad we sang at the beginning of the episode entitled Jealous Lover in a Lone Green Valley. But the words were different. Yeah, those words were the confession of killing her husband.
Wow.
She did it by poem. She confessed by poem. And I'm just as baffled as you as to why she decided to send it this way.
It's also the choice of the language is so hilarious. Like the way she has to use plunged.
Yeah.
But she's talking about a gun.
Right.
Because usually plunged you associate with
knife.
a knife.
Which was used in the first
First
ballad.
Oh, well, that makes more sense then. She's very clearly borrowing heavily.
But still, why? Did she think that it would get her extra brownie points for making it rhyme? It just seems creepy and wrong, and above all, dramatic.
Yeah.
And it just seems to me that someone who would confess via poem is missing some connections in her brain somewhere. It seems like the actions of someone not very grounded in reality.
No.
Of what she did.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, who am I thinking of recently in one of our stories where we had someone who tried to blame it on their father and then felt really guilt. I'm blanking. But there was one recently where it was like, blame it on the father, and then I felt so bad that she had to confess.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway.
But
Editing Allison here to say, Frankie Silver tried to blame her dad. Over and out.
the poem part of it.
Yeah.
It's just still so like, what?
Yeah.
What? And clearly she wrote it to be sung. Because the lyric is like, think of me when you sing this song. And at the beginning when she like, I don't know, was she trying to come across as crazy?
Well, also the fact that she paints him in such a penitent light. Like she also paints him in this really kind of tone of, I feels like there's a lot of regret in there for what she did. I want to work
for Jesus and all this. And, but she writes it in such a way that it seems like she had no other choice. Like,
well, the mule.
Said, I pleaded for his life at the beginning. I'm like, who are you pleading with?
Yeah.
You're the one that killed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't understand.
And also just the poisonous mule. Just
is like,
cracks
don't
me up.
drink, friends. It just seems so separated.
Yeah.
She's separated from the events, like she's telling what's happened.
Compartmentalization is the thing.
2, 4, 6, 8. Time to disassociate. In the research I've done, she never really explains why she decided a poem was the way to go.
Yeah.
The Evening Journal, a local newspaper, reported that she felt so guilty her father was behind bars that one day she asked her mother for a pencil because she wanted to write a poem, and that she was already a poetess of local renown. I'm like, huh? So she won some prizes? Because this is clearly plagiarism.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of that shit didn't scan.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Oh my God.
The newspaper goes on to say it was a climax to several domestic quarrels. And on several occasions, Marlowe, so this is the third.
Okay, yep.
This is the third one, as this paper calls him, threatened to kill her. The Evening Journal also goes over some of the more questionable parts of the poem that I personally find the disconnect the author has to the subject fascinating, as if she's pleading with someone else not to kill her husband. Down on my knees before him, I pleaded for his life, but deep in his bosom had plunged a 45. She doesn't say I had done it. She says it was done.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Once again, who are you pleading with? Yourself? Another personality? Him? He was asleep.
Yeah.
How could she plead with somebody that's asleep?
Yep.
So she goes on to give him last words,
Yeah.
As he's dying from a gunshot wound right in the chest.
Yeah.
It seems like you wouldn't last long. And she goes on to say, I know I've been a rambler and I've done you wrong. And, I want to work for Jesus and all this stuff. Which, I don't know.
It's like she's trying to redeem him as well as herself. Because you would have assumed that in a confession like this, she would have gone, but he was no good and he beat me up and he was a drinker. And but
that might make her look bad.
Exactly. So it's
interesting.
It is.
Yeah. Clearly she was taking poetic license here because Marlowe goes on, or what they called him, goes on to bid her farewell, tells her to kiss their children for him, blah, 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 blah. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I really don't know what she expected the reader, whom I guess was intended to be Governor Bilbo, but I feel she wanted the general public at large to hear this poem and to think about this poem. Did she think people were supposed to feel sorry for her after reading this? Because it doesn't do that for me.
No.
I feel like she's trying to manipulate the situation instead of just confessing the truth.
Yeah.
Instead of just being, I can't take this anymore, I did it. She wrote this wildly flowery, crazy poem that makes no sense. And I feel like she's trying to manipulate the situation instead of just confessing the truth. The Evening Journal goes on to say that the poem was turned into a song and sung by plantation workers using the N-word, which I will not use, but sung by plantation workers in Mississippi. Doesn't say how the writer knows this is sung by plantation workers in Mississippi, but there it is. Another paper, told you there was a lot of papers, the Ogden Standard Examiner says, Not long ago, Mrs. Pearl Drew sobbingly laid before the authorities of Benton County a sheaf of scrawled foolscap. Which
foolscap. No, yes, foolscap is a long bit of paper. So in Australia, you have A4 is the standard size of paper, which is a little bit bigger than the paper here. It's a like bigger size, and it's the same in the UK. But then you have foolscap, which is bigger again, or like longer.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's the same width, but it's. I remember you used to get foolscap notebooks for school, and if you accidentally got that instead of A4, then it was really annoying because it wouldn't go in a folder. Yeah.
Do it with me, everybody. The more you know. Foolscap.
Yep.
Her admission in uneven doggerel verse that she and not her father had fired the fatal bullet into her husband's breast while he slept. A world-famous psychiatrist like Freud or Jung would have quite a task untangling all the obscure mental strands which motivated this alleged slaying of fear and vengeance. She inscribed page after page of ragged verse, often repeating herself, frequently resorting to rhymes which were not rhymes at all. Everyone's a critic, I guess.
Yep.
It then goes on to say, in Pearl's own words, so I guess they interviewed her, I went to Judge Pegram and took Dorothy Louise with me. She lied and had told him I killed Marlowe. Again with the Marlowe.
Yeah.
It's Marlowe. My husband had come home drunk that night. He was simply reeking of liquor. I begged and pleaded with him to stop drinking. Then he threatened me and the baby that would soon be born. After he'd gone to sleep, I crept into his room. He just lay there with the pistol beside him. I wondered if he'd wake up soon. I was afraid because he threatened me before. Well then, I picked up the gun, pulled back the covers, and shot him. He didn't die right away. He woke up, knew what had happened. I guess he felt death close by, for he called me ever to him. By that time, I was sorry, oh so sorry. But it was too late. I held him close, tried to staunch the blood that was flowing from him. He was going rapidly. So that was her quote. Which I don't know if I believe. But that's...
Here's the thing. How do you shoot someone with your daughter lying next to
How do you do that?
That's the thing that I'm like...
Yeah. Right?
How do you do that? Also, Dorothy Louise.
Yes, poor Dorothy Louise. And I'm sorry, and I guess it was, again, a different time. But if you are afraid that your husband is going to hurt you, can't you call the police? But I guess back then, a drunken husband was nothing to call the police about.
And who are they going to believe?
Yeah, I don't know why she felt like, well, he's asleep. Guess I should shoot him.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
I mean, unless
Seems
she,
like
she got to her she just kind of, I mean, it doesn't sound like it was done in the heat of the moment. No. So you kind of go, did she just snap? But then it doesn't sound like it. It sounds more calculated than that.
It does.
Yeah.
And there's also this thing called, battered woman syndrome.
Yes.
Which it could have been. But I don't know. We weren't there.
No.
But just the fact that she wrote this big long poem about it makes me think that it's more calculated than just in the heat of the moment I shot him. So, the governor sent a 90-day release to Gunter after this poem was sent to him.
Right.
And Pearl was immediately taken into custody at the Ashland jail with her then 3-month-old baby for perjury. So, you and your baby hanging out in jail. Her father is said to have forgiven her entirely. Pearl's father.
I was just thinking about him. I'm like, what a guy.
Right? Yeah.
What a man. That's extraordinary.
Said nothing during the whole trial and just took the rap for him.
Do you know who I was thinking of just then as well? Casey Anthony's father.
Oh my God. Oh.
And that that poor family.
Yeah.
But just that, the love of a father to their daughter, and what...
It's what, like, that one is truly what a shit show.
Yeah.
It really is. Pardon my swearing. I'm very sweary today.
Yeah.
But what a shit show.
Yeah. Do we need to put a little E for explicit
I
in our
have
episode?
been. Maybe that's why. I don't know if we're going to get funded from now on. Well, we haven't been funded, but I don't know if we're going to get funded. So I guess the poem worked. Public favor was with Pearl. They sent her sympathy letters in jail, where it was reported that she spent her days taking care of her baby and reading the Bible.
Oh my gosh.
Pearl pled guilty, but the judge was so moved with sympathy for her that he gave her a suspended sentence, and she was released.
Goes to show a repentant woman in the... Yeah.
But...
Oh.
Governor Bilbo was pissed. He was not going to let this family get out of it that easily. With a strange sense of justice, he said that since Pearl wasn't going to serve time for the murder, he was going to have to take her father back into custody.
Aww.
Quote, somebody ought to be in the penitentiary all the time for the murder of a sleeping man. If Judge Pegram does not believe that Mrs. Drew is guilty enough to serve her term, the man convicted of the murder will have to serve the term. Husbands ought to have some protection.
Okay. Do the wives have any protection?
So many things there. So many things. Like I said, it's an Allah punished. I mean,
yeah.
The guy was a creep. He was a drunken, horrible creep. But she was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm for her. I'm do what you gotta do, but it seems like it was premeditated. It seems like she wrote this. It was conniving. Her whole poem thing was nuts and crazy, and clearly trying to get favor. Maybe a record deal. I don't know. She clearly tried to get the public to back her.
Yeah, and I feel for her dad.
Yeah,
just to be going to prison for something you didn't do,
and then to have to go back.
Yeah.
So daughter and father were both technically convicted of the murder of Marlowe Merlin, and they both fled the state and were never brought to justice.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm conflicted. So now, no doubt, Marvin Drew was a horrid guy. He was terrible, an alcoholic, threatened to kill her, but wasn't there something else that could have been done? Did she have no choice but to kill the man? Couldn't they have made him leave or something? It doesn't say that if there were any other courses of action taken on the part of Pearl or her family to get rid of Marlowe Marion before this, but it seems like they should have tried. Maybe they did try, and we just don't know.
Yeah.
Kick him out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What do? You have to kill him with your 7-year-old sleeping next to him?
That's the part that gets me. And that's the part that also says to me that there's a level of potential psychopathy or sociopathy that's going on, because to privilege ending the life of your husband over your child's mental health well-being and emotional well-being,
that's crazy.
Displays a level of selfishness that is psychopathic or sociopathic.
I'm going to show you pictures because there's this crazy newspaper article.
Wow.
So the title of this is, and I'll share it with you guys at home. It says, "Confessed her fatal love, Vengence in Hillbilly Doggerel."
Hillbilly Doggerel.
And this is Pearl.
Look at her. That is a
And her baby.
That is a mean face. She is.
Well, this was taken in prison.
Yeah, that is a hard face. Look at that little
This
baby.
is
that Dorothy Louise?
And that is
Thomas.
Thomas.
Her dad.
That's her dad. And
This
look,
is-
there's even an illustrated
wow.
version of the poem, which I will also include.
This is so
on Instagram.
fascinating because there are so many pictures. Like, it's like picture newspaper. It's
Yes,
not. Well, I guess.
Almost like a comic.
Well, I guess if you, a lot of people can't read.
Yeah, yeah.
Then this is how you.
And this is Mr. and Mrs. Gunter, the grandparents.
She's a tough lady, too.
Yeah, she looks like Liz, and I'm pissed.
Oh, yeah.
But
she looks like Pearl as well. They look
she does.
very alike.
Well, time was hard, I guess.
Yep.
There's no picture of Marvin Marion anywhere. But yeah, just almost like a comic.
Yeah.
Going through with her poem written and handwritten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll include it, but it's wild.
Yeah.
It's very, what was it? Tabloid, like.
Yeah.
Inquirer. That's
yes.
what my granny would always read. The Inquirer.
Did she?
Yeah. She loved it. She loved the Inquirer. Yeah, we're just left with, and they ran away. They just left the state, and no one pursued it.
Wow.
I mean,
sounds like he didn't have anyone. Marvin, Marlowe, Marion.
No one loved him.
Well, kind
There's
of.
no
because
love lost. Yes.
I was gonna say, like, there. It doesn't sound like there were a bunch of people kind of trying to avenge him, or which goes, I think, speaks volumes.
Yeah. So this one was wild because she seems to clearly have some disconnect, like I said, psychologically.
Yeah. To
write that crazy ass poem, song, so weird.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. There is an alarm going off, and I apologize.
Yes, I was going to say, I hope. Oh, it's all the way down there. I can see it.
It'll be very faint, hopefully, and it won't drive you nuts. But this is the way it is living in the city.
Yeah, or in the New Jersey suburbs.
In Jersey.
There we go.
So I just wanted to see if I didn't try to make it goofier, but I think it absolutely is goofier than. Find a Hobby last episodes. I've written a really, really dumb song because of he's been called all these different things by newspapers. Marlin, Marion, Marvin, I think Merlin, Marlowe. So I also, what was spinning around in my brain was we didn't start the fire. And when I was a kid, I would just try to phonetically learn it because I had no idea what was going on. There wasn't like just off the radio. And I was obsessed with the part that would go, for some reason I thought it said Billin, Berlin, Bay of Pigs Invasion. So I started going Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion in my brain.
I love it.
We came out with this.
It's so great.
Nutty thing.
Do you know what I love? I love that one of us has an idea for the song and then it feeds into the next idea. Like you take the idea of the one before and then you kind of like build on that, and that's why.
And that's all me because I just magpie off of you. I think.
No, I do exactly the same thing.
But it is in the folk tradition because we're just
totally.
I'm taking what I've learned from you and then spitting it out into some other thing, like they did with Lone Green Jealous Lover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure, that's what I meant to do the whole time.
No, I love this song. It tickles me.
It's
and also,
stupid.
I will say, a songs were well written. I did not trip over any of those words at all singing, which you would have thought. So it does trip off the tongue.
I don't know.
It trips merrily off the tongue. What's
Marvin,
that? That's
Marilyn, Marion Lee.
Yeah.
The tongue. Well, okay, here's this dumb piece of song that I've written. And now for some very inappropriate silliness. Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, oh, what did you do? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, were you so untrue? Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, did you hurt your wife? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, she done took your life. Could she not run away? Did they ask you to leave and did you stay? Did you threaten Pearlie's life? Did you brandish a big knife? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, oh, what did you do? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, were you so untrue? Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, did you hurt your wife? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, she done took your life. It's a mystery, one of history, why she did what she did. Prone to drink, you probably stink. And what about your kids? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, oh, what did you do? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, were you so untrue? Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, did you hurt your wife? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, she done took your life. Did you hurt them, you lousy brute? Go do things of ill repute. Dad, burn your cheating heart. No good from the very start. Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, oh, what did you do? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, were you so untrue? Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, did you hurt your wife? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, she done took your life. Pearly girlie shot you dead, then she blamed it on her dad. Then without any pretense, she went and used some poetic license. That doesn't scan. Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, oh, what did you do? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, were you so untrue? Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, did you hurt your wife? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, she done took your life. Wrote the mayor a tragic verse, rather flowery at the first. Are you in heaven or in hell? And is Pearl there as well? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, oh, what did you do? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, are you so untrue? Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, did you hurt your wife? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, she done took your life. In the end, was she justified for being a battered, murderous bride? Some say yes and some say no, but that's just the way it goes. The moral of this tragic tale: don't hurt your spouse, you'll go to jail. Or even worse, you just might die. And she'll write bad poetry to say goodbye. And that's the worst, am I right?
Absolutely.
Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, oh, what did you do? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, were you so untrue? Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, did you hurt your wife? Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, she done took your life. Oh, Marvin, Merlin, Marlin, Marion, she done took your life.
Yay! There it was, folks.
There it was.
I hope you enjoyed it as
There it
much as
was.
I enjoyed singing it.
And in the murder ballad, custom, it is very lighthearted about murder.
Yep.
Oh boy, yeah, this one was a weird one.
Yeah.
And ridiculous. So I wrote a ridiculous song.
But
to pair
so
with it.
fun. But I also don't know about you, but I feel like with everything that's going on at the moment, my brain is weirdly trying desperately to go the other way.
Yeah.
So just ridiculousness. I will say the guest panelist has been somewhat of an anchor point through all this.
Absolutely.
Because I can't. And to be honest, I would have thought my anxiety would have gone through the roof.
Wow.
But it hasn't, which is, but I get, because I just focus on her and I'm just like, that's all I got to worry about is what her day to day is like for right now.
Yeah. And then we'll fight for her rights in the streets.
That's right.
In the streets.
That's right.
I'm sorry. I'm surprisingly becoming more and more punk as this
I mean, not unsurprisingly.
I thought I would be like a folk singer like Joan Baez, but I'm becoming just angry punk rock.
100%.
Mad. So let's have a punk album.
Yeah.
Folk punk.
Yeah.
That's a thing, right? And
yeah.
Is Ani DeFranco considered folk punk?
Oh, that's an interesting thought. Maybe.
I
mean, if Nouvelle Vague can be new wave cocktail music.
Yeah.
80s new wave.
We're going to make some folk punk.
Yeah.
Things.
I definitely think that's
because we
possible.
need one more project.
Yeah.
Ooh, to distract.
Well, with that distortion pedal on the auto harp.
Yep, we got it. We might use it.
I think we should.
Yep.
Maybe that's what. Okay, I've got to think about some ideas. Also, we just want to kind of drop some ideas that we're having for upcoming episodes because we are running out of public domain songs.
Yeah.
So we may not perform the originals as much in the original songs anymore. So we can open it up to songs that have been written more recently that we would provide Spotify links to and create playlists of and things, because there's so many amazing contemporary songs
that
have been written about real crimes, and there's
we
one that I
cannot afford to play.
Yeah, and there's one I'm desperate to tell. I might look at that as the next one. Just skip ahead.
Yeah, let's give it a whirl.
Yeah, and we'll try it out and let us know what you think.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you out there? Let us know.
Yes.
I feel like we're shouting in the void sometimes.
I know, I do.
Hello.
But we have some new listeners. I have one of my mum's book club fellow,
Mom's Book Club.
Anna. She completely on her own apparently found our podcast, which is amazing.
That's great.
And another mum friend, Melissa, she started listening. So hey, my friends.
Oh, we love that mom group.
Yeah.
We love that mom group.
Oh, totally. So yeah, send us a lovely email at cormacandgwyn@gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram at cormacandgwyn. You can go ahead.
YouTube.
Yep.
Cormac and Gwen. Search for it. You'll find episodes to the podcast and live performance videos if you like that sort of thing.
Yep. And please rate, review, subscribe, all of the things.
All of the things.
Yeah,
we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know. We want to interact with you.
Yep.
Friends, hang in there. We
Yeah,
love you.
We do.
What have we learned?
Just leave.
Don't write bad poetry about murdering your husband.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it worked for her.
Or, yeah, well, that's the thing. It did work for her.
It did work.
I was going to say,
maybe don't kill anyone.
Don't shoot your husband with your child in the bed.
Yeah, remove the child.
That's what I would say. Remove the child from the situation.
Remove child from bed.
And then I feel much more sympathy for you.
Or run away.
Yeah.
Or call the police.
I mean,
Luckily, we live in the time where hopefully women are believed more. Oh, God.
Yeah.
That sounds so scary. Anyway.
I know. But, yes, what else did we learn? Fathers.
Be a good dad.
Yeah.
Be a good dad like this guy. Don't be a shitty daughter like... Sorry. I mean, well, don't blame your dad for it.
Yeah. I mean, I do think there was some very much undiagnosed
mental illness.
Yeah,
take your pills, take your meds.
Thank God for meds.
Take your meds, go to therapy.
Don't believe the Scientologists. Meds are awesome.
Yes. Meds are awesome. Therapy's awesome.
Yep.
We all have mental illness. We can't ignore it, so we might as well deal with it.
Yeah. Although I think what I learned is as well, you can just run away and then you won't have to.
Yeah. Just leave. Find a hobby. Just leave and don't write poetry. Write poetry, but not about.
Yeah, or write poetry just like in a note in a journal.
Friends, go to therapy.
Yeah.
Don't shoot your spouse with your kid in the bed. Don't go down by the river.
No, yeah.
And
don't go down by the river in Mississippi, 9 months pregnant.
Yeah, just don't do
in the summer.
Yeah. And most of all, don't find yourself in some dark color. Yes.